Oh, good morning, everyone. My name is MightyStream, and today is October the 9th. I greet you this morning. I'm going to do your spiritual principle a day in a meditation. I'm brought to you by Hope Through Navigation, and this is our H.O.O.D recovery services. Let's go ahead and get into the meditation. If you need to reach me, feel free to do so at recoveryofhope21@gmail.com. Again, that's recoveryofhope21@gmail.com. Hopefully you can see that it's pretty large. So, all right. Staying open-minded to new ideals. Being open-minded allows us to hear something that might save our lives. It allows us to listen to opposing points of view and come to conclusions of our own. Basic text, chapter 9, just for today, living the program. There are a lot of opinions in NA about NA, and yet there are few beliefs about recovery in Narcotics Anonymous that are universally held by all of us. Certainly, we are an abstinence-based program, and the NA basics are made clear in our literature, meetings, steps, sponsorship, service, and a relationship with a higher power. Our primary purpose of carrying the message to other addicts is also plainly stated. In addition to our steps, we have the traditions and concepts to assist us in meeting that purpose. While NA's basics are explicit, how we apply them is not. As newcomers, we are told to listen as if our lives depended on it, because they do. It is through practicing open-mindedness that we can find our personal journey in recovery using the basics in the ways that work best for us. When we're new, we have no idea how to work a program of recovery, though sometimes we think we do and have no problem saying so. Mostly, we rely on sponsors and other more experienced members to show us how they do it. This is where some members, very passionate and sometimes opposing views arise. For example, how many meetings should we be attending? How to work step 10? And how long to hang on to a service position? But there's no blueprint for working a program of recovery, no model of the recovering addict. All we know is what has worked for us. The longer we stay clean, the more difficult it can become to stay open-minded, curious, and flexible. True, we find things that work for us and keep doing them, but we need to be mindful of becoming rigid in the face of our evolving lives. A new job or relationship or sudden hardship might merit a different approach from what we're used to. We may find ourselves, as we did in early recovery, asserting what we think we know instead of listening and being open to others' perspective and input. Wherever we are in our recovery, our open-mindedness doesn't mean that we have to change our views or our actions, but it means we are listening and exploring different options. When I find myself reluctant to hear others' ideals, I'll take note of what's getting in the way. Then I'll listen with an open mind and draw my own conclusions. That is a beautiful meditation. I think the basis of this meditation today is to remind us that being open-minded to new ideals is not as easy as people might try to make it seem. Oh, honesty, open-mindedness, and willingness. Okay. We hear that a lot. We hear that an awful lot. However, the truth of the matter is that open-mindedness is a spiritual principle that has to be developed, especially coming from where we come from. Okay, so we understand when we're reading our literature, we understand that making meetings are important. We've even read in literature 90 meetings in 90 days. You'll find over time, if you actually sit down with an old timer and ask them, how many meetings a week do you make? I mean, do you still do 90 and 90? Do you make a meeting every day? And they'll tell you, my goodness, no. Some might say absolutely. The 90 and 90 was recommended for the person coming into the fellowship so they could develop a habit of incorporating meetings in their lives on a daily basis. You will occasionally get individuals that will make it seem like that's for everybody. Everybody ought to be doing 90 and 90, and then another 90 and 90, and then another 90. And then at what point in time do we become productive members of society? Meeting makers make it, right? Makers make it. We have all these cliches that we toss around, and we don't actually think about what we're saying when we say them. And if we're judging based on them, judging others especially, that's a problem. The only way I have found that I can make a meeting every day, especially in this last 3 years since the pandemic of coronavirus hit, is through the Zoom platform. And believe me, I had to do a lot of research on the creator of the Zoom platform for me to be comfortable to be on the Zoom platform. Just a small rabbit trail. This is a individual of Asian descent from China that had a opportunity to be educated in the United States of America, um, worked a beautiful job in the IT department, right? The computer department of a very rather large company, developed this virtual meeting platform and offered it, created it and offered it and was turned down. And I believe not just once or twice, repeatedly. And so went on to patent his own company, his own ideal. And here we are many years later. I believe it was 11 years later. Cannot remember the exact amount of time that passed. And even though there was Google Meet, even though there was In the Rooms, an app called In the Rooms that was basically doing this sort of thing for all anonymous programs, um, this took off. This platform took off and it became a space that members of Narcotics Anonymous and their autonomous groups decided that we could actually rent the space to be able to have meetings as large as we wanted virtually. It wasn't until this happened that I was able to trust the intentions of Zoom and get on NA meetings on this platform. Yeah. And so, in that sense, I'm able to make a meeting every day, but a meeting in person every day, there's some old timers or just people in general that said they would never be on a computer for a meeting. They don't trust it. And so their recovery suffered to a great extent. And there's still some that refuse. They went kind of underground. They refused to stop meeting, even though the whole nation was on shutdown. They continued to meet. And they spout that. They're very proud that they continue to meet. So everyone has an opinion, like this meditation is saying. Everyone has one. Everyone. But are you so stuck on your opinion? Right? Are you so stuck on your opinion that now you have become dogmatic? I want you to research that word in case you don't know what that means. Have you become dogmatic? Dogmatic, right? Where now you're so rigid about what you believe in, a new ideal cannot be grafted on a closed mind. So open-mindedness is, again, in my opinion, one of those things that you have to develop, and you do it over time. And a lot of times, the encouragement, the reason for developing open-mindedness comes on the tails of extreme discomfort and pain, and sometimes even embarrassment. Sometimes it takes someone having to experience the failure of something that they were so closed-minded about before they will begin to open their heart and their minds that there might be another way to do something. It's kind of like what we talk about with the gift of desperation, how we ended up in the fellowship. It comes over a period of time, right? Some of us got it and we stayed, and some of us did not. We still thought we could, there's a smarter way to get high. There's a better way to get high. So today, that's what I want you to think about. When you're listening to other people talk, do you automatically shut them down? Do you automatically shut them down where you might appear to be listening, but you're not listening to them at all? And why is that? There's this gentleman, he used to be a part of my everyday life. And he was a mailman. And so every day he'd walk past, delivering mail, one of the kindest people you could ever meet. And eventually we found each other in the rooms of recovery. So he's in the rooms of recovery. I'm in the rooms of recovery. And I'm amazed that the person I knew that was delivering mail even had a habit of any kind. But this is the point. When I observe, and I haven't had a chance to do this in a long time, but when I observe him in a meeting, especially, let's just say a meeting that might not be too comfortable for him. Or when I observe him listening to someone share that might be coming across probably not just to him, but to a lot of people um, as being super angry and judgmental about Narcotics Anonymous. He closes his eyes and he puts his hands on his chest, and you'll see him tap his chest ever so lightly every now and then. It's almost like he's meditating and telling himself to stay still and calm down as he listens. And one time he explained, I'm not sleeping. I'm not sleeping in a meeting. Whoever came up with that is lying. I closed my eyes so that I could hear the message and not focus on the messenger. That is a skill that works for him, and it helps him maintain open mindedness. I encourage you today, the next time you're in a meeting and you are struggling with being able to actually hear another person's ideals, to hear them share. It doesn't have to just be in a meeting. Close your eyes and listen. Listen. Now, if it's one on one, it might be kind of weird for you to close your eyes while they're talking. But if it's in a meeting or something like that and it's pretty discreet, just close your eyes and see if it changes the way that you listen. Today, be open minded, listen to other people. And then when you've done that, go from there. Draw your own conclusions after that. But if you're not even open minded a little bit and you're making decisions based on just your own perspective, you don't take the thoughts of others into consideration, you might be struggling more than you think. My name is Mighty Stream, and I have enjoyed talking to you, and I will be talking to you tomorrow. Have a beautiful day on purpose.